Hey guys, and welcome to episode 4 of 8 Minutes with Ash. In this episode today, I'm going to be talking about overtraining, okay? What is overtraining? Are you overtraining? And what are some of the problems associated with overtraining? And also how overtraining actually makes you regress. And by that, I mean the opposite of progress. So in last week's episode, I did speak about the best diet for you. If you guys have missed it, make sure you catch up on it. I'm going to pop that link below for you. But let's get into it. So the majority of people think that the more you train, the more results they'll get. I saw it last night at the gym. I saw this couple training and they were lifting weights. Once they finished, they actually went and did a cardio class. Now, it kind of does make sense, you know, build muscle and cardio in one night. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos within this series of videos, you would have heard me talk about signals. So what signal do you think that you would be sending your body by doing this? I've spoken about pressing the accelerator or pressing the brake. Now, are you pressing both at once by doing this? Of course you are. How many of you guys have honestly done this? I know I've done it. I did it for years and I really want you guys to see what it's doing. So training strength and then cardio or the other way around is 100% pressing the accelerator and the brake at one time. We've all heard of team no days off. We've all heard of beast mode, you know, no rest days. That was me. That was me doing those hashtags, and I had an absolute ball doing it. I freaking loved it, but more does not always equal more, and I learned the hard way. Obviously, having the ability to push yourself is super important for muscle growth, but the problem lies with forgetting that it is actually when you're resting, like every minute that you spend outside of the gym, that's when your muscles are repairing and growing. The studies and research around shows that training to failure every single time actually does hinder your progress significantly. So you end up with less strength, raised cortisol levels, which leads to more body fat, and there's a ton of other side effects. I suffered really badly from a really bad night's sleep. Lowered libido is a huge one for most people, and terrible energy levels as well. So guys, this is how the muscle building process works. So listen in carefully. Imagine your muscles are sitting at a normal baseline, okay? Let's call it 10. You go work out, you cause stress and damage, which will make your muscles drop below this baseline. Now, let's say it drops down to a 6 or a 7. Now, for about the next 1 to 2 days, your muscles receive a signal that tells them to not just recover and grow, but to move past this baseline. Now, let's say 11 or a 12, okay? So just above. So the next time you train, your baseline is higher, you damage your muscles. This time you're down to about an 8 or a 9, then you recover and you're back up to say a 14. Now this process goes on and on and on, and this is how your body builds muscle. However, if the intensity is too high, you can cause way too much damage to the muscles, and the muscles will actually drop way below the baseline. So let's say that way below the baseline means a 3 or a 4, maybe even lower, depending on how intense your training was. Now, the body will then divert all of its resources over the next couple of days to repair and recover from the damage. But because it's dropped way below the baseline, you run the risk of not getting the muscles back up to that baseline of 10. You only make it up to say an 8 or a 9. Then it's training day again. Guys, it is textbook overtraining. So you need to find the sweet spot between how much is too much and how much is not enough. And this is where intensity has to meet volume and consistency, because intensity alone, it's just not simply enough. So usually my clients train about 3 days a week, for example, on a very specific program, a full body resistance training schedule. It's designed to hit each muscle group 2 to 3 times a week. providing a continued stream of muscle building signal, if that makes sense. So which effectively lets the muscles know that you want to grow and you want to keep raising that baseline. You want to get stronger. You want to keep getting those results that, everybody wants. So Monday, say we drop it down to a 9 or an 8, which might not really seem like enough, but you're back in the gym on Wednesday training some of those muscle groups again because the intensity wasn't crazy, your body's recovered already, and then we hit it again. And then we're back at the gym on Friday doing Monday's workout. Now, the consistent training provides a higher volume of total exercise at just that right intensity, like that sweet spot. And that honestly is the secret sauce. It's the key to sustainable results and results that you can continue to get. Now, being able to tell if you're overtraining is super tricky, and it's one of those areas that I work really closely with the girls during the first couple of weeks. And it's mostly tricky because it's super counterintuitive. Unless it's been explained to you like I've explained it, then it just doesn't make sense. It usually is, I'm going to be honest, about the 3-week mark that when I start getting text messages of appreciation really around results and unbelievable breakthroughs. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I'll pop the link below in case you don't. You will see some of the text messages that I get. I get those messages every day, which is a very rewarding feeling. Around 50% of the girls I work with do go from training around that 5 to 7 days a week, which for their baseline position is overtraining. Now we then reduce it to around the 3 days a week, which generally results in increases in all of their major lifts like squats, deadlifts, shoulder press, those big lifts. And if they aren't progressing in that area then, or you're not progressing in those areas, then you're most likely overtraining. So your body should be changing shape. And if it's not, and you're doing the above kind of training, you may be overtraining. It's even if you've had a terrible night's sleep and it's continuously happening and you're training like that, then it's a sign, guys. Being not sore, even if you've had a super hard session where you felt like death was like knocking on your door, that's overtraining. Although on the flip side, not being able to walk for 4 days and sit down on the toilet, that is also overtraining. It doesn't mean that you don't push yourself to the extreme and go for those 1 RMs every now and again. It doesn't mean that you don't skyrocket the intensity from time to time and end up with a little bit of DOMs. It's going to happen. It's just not going to happen every training session. It won't happen every week. It may not even happen every month. It is science. The studies are there. Muscles that are actually trained more than once per week respond way, 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 way better. I think there was 3 ways. You can tell how much way better than the typical split. But I'll talk about that. I'm going to save that for next week's episode. The 3 things you need to remember: volume, consistency, and intensity. They are the things that make up the part of the perfect process for progress. Just intensity on its own, it's just not going to get you there. Training full body a couple of times a week, aka volume, combined with consistency, aka 2 to 3 times a week, with the right amount of intensity, aka not overtraining. It's where all of those 3 sweet spots meet in the middle, and that's where the results are found. Guys, hopefully this helps you. So if you have any questions whatsoever, my email is dropped below. Please send me an email. I will promise you that I will reply. I'd be happy to help out and have a chat with you and see where you are sitting. All right, guys, until next week when episode 5 drops, have a great week.